He's on a patch, but I don't think it's working.
He didn't bite me this time.
He was saying hello, he gets excited.
I think he's doing good. A patch is good.
It's a new school that hypes him up. This whole year, by the end of the day, he's all hyped. I told him, these schools don't know, they just don't, but Rich doesn't get it. Rich loves school.
DC.
Chocolate City.
I bet he went to the prom.
Purple tux, purple shoes, purple top hat.
Now that's black right there, all one color like that.
Right, so it wasn't an only, so he doesn't. I said, get off of there, and I mean it. I sound like I'm from the east side screaming at my kids like that, but he always finds the craziest place to be. Grandma's skin would crawl as she could hear.
Oh, Grandma can hear all right. She's still around.
If the kids hear you talking that ghosty, spooky stuff, they won't sleep for a week.
It's not spooky, it's beautiful. And you can't tell me you haven't felt something. Felt either of them living here in their house?
Last time their Auntie Nessa came and filled their heads, I had to go from room to room every night during the nightmares.
Grandma, Grandpa, they're both still here. It's a sign.
Not the butt goodness.
You keep finding them all over the house. That's what you said.
She lived here for 50 years. Of course we're going to find her stuff everywhere.
She kept them in that jar, not all over the place.
Grandma Lucy was the only person I met who collected buttons.
Peculiar. That's what she called it.
Miles, what did I just say? Oh, thank God Lucy J doesn't act like I couldn't manage to as I couldn't.
Who's coming to this shindig anyway?
I still can't believe it's not even a month. Both Grandma and Grandpa gone. I just thought a little something would be nice since it's her birthday.
She never would have planned a birthday party for herself where people could tramp all over her backyard. There's already a dry patch.
Get out of here talking about a dry patch. The lawn is not high on my list now, so stuff about this house I need to take care of.
It's half my house too. Give me half that list.
See, this is why I'm a very good big sister. Rich and I moved in, so you don't have to worry about any of it.
I don't understand why you have to invite people to this birthday. Most of her friends are dead.
No, they're not. There's Grace from across the street.
Grace was always a good cook. I hope you're on your game for this. Did you make the potato salad with the mayonnaise or the vinegar? Because everyone around here eats it with the mayonnaise. White people love mayonnaise.
Grandma Lucy herself ate mayonnaise.
50 years, you'd think this neighborhood would have changed just a little.
Nope, we're still the only flies up in the buttermilk around here.
So, 3 people.
And I invited the Coopers from down near the park.
The Coopers built a pool. Did you see that?
The way Mrs. Cooper goes on and on, you think she built a Roman bath. It's a hole in the ground with tile. That's what it is.
Looked great to me. That's what this yard needs. A pool. I'll pay half.
Pay half? That's generous. You don't even live here.
I could. I'm sick of my roommate anyway. I could move in.
You get that raise and you can pay for the whole thing yourself.
Waiting for the right time to ask.
Right. New shoes?
Why?
Are those new shoes?
If you like them, then yes. If you're going to make some comment about them, then I'd rather not say.
Just think of all the new shoes you could buy if you got that raise.
Next time with
Red ones, green ones,
the timing wasn't right to ask.
orange
You
ones,
know that. I told you.
boots, galoshes.
I'm serious. You'd know more about it if we actually talked. Like, at lunch or something. We could have lunch.
If Mrs. Cooper traps me in that cereal aisle one more time to go on about that pool, she always gets me right near the fruits. Last week, she's going on and on about chlorine, and I'm nodding and I'm smiling, and I look down and I realize the kids are gone. So I try nicely to get her to stop talking about chlorine, before the PA system calls my name and lets the whole world know I lost my kids. When I see them at the end of the aisle, and their shirts are wet, and they're carrying baskets. And Mrs. Cooper is in her own world of filters and pool boys, and the kids are getting closer, and I see that they are drenched. And I get a look inside those baskets they're lugging, and I see those two went and freed live lobster from the deli. Mrs. Cooper's got one hell of a steam.
That's sweet. They're sweet. You raised some sweet kids.
She's got that old lady judgment mouth, too. That's the last thing I need is her gabbing about how wild my kids, how bad they are every time we go out.
It's not every time.
You knock on Mrs. Cooper's door and tell her that, please.
You should be proud. You taught them to be socially conscious.
I wish I taught them to look for sales. Those lobsters were $8.99 a pound. Mrs. Cooper is one chatty Cathy, but that's what these neighbors do. They try to chat you up and talk your ears off.
I think talking to your neighbors in the supermarket is called being polite.
It's nosy. And if Mrs. Cooper breathes one more word about that pool, next time there's a neighborhood thing, I'm gonna tell Miles to pee in there, I swear.
That's lovely. So, 3 people. We're having a second memorial in picnic form for 3 people.
And I invited the Donovans since they couldn't make it to the memorial. I invited the Donovans, so be nice.
Anna!
Why? You sound worse than the kids.
You should have asked me.
I thought I did.
No, you didn't.
What's the big deal?
They have that moppy smell.
Nessa!
They weren't our friends. We shouldn't have to invite them.
They were Grandma and Grandpa's first here, and she loved it here. She raised Mom and Aunt June here. She raised me and you here after Mom left to go do all her the tree, shove it to the man stuff, and Daddy forgot it, man.
It's just they have that moppy smell that digs under your skin, your bones, makes you want to just...
Hello?
Mr. Donovan.
Hello, Mr. Donovan.
I'm sorry. I'm a little early.
No, please, here, have a seat.
Oh, I don't know.
No, don't be shy, Mr. Donovan. Where's Mrs. Donovan? On her way around?
Mrs. Donovan,
Don't tell me she's sick again.
No.
She just got over that cold, she said on the phone. There's nothing worse than a summer cold. Please, sit. Nessa, here, can get you a drink.
Oh, no.
I can get you a drink, no trouble.
No, I shouldn't. Mrs. Donovan is,
Mr. Donovan?
maybe I should sit down.
Have a drink, Nessa.
We've got Coke,
Coke?
but we've also got hard stuff.
Would you like a Coke, Mr. Donovan?
Tonic. And I remember when this was 5 cents. You could go down to Bailey 5 and 10 and get a whole bottle. Glass bottle. Ice cold. Sides that rub off on your fingers, make them wet. Yeah, they're good people, the Baileys. Good. But yeah, your grandmother, rest her soul, she'd remember 5 cents. Now, I don't go into that racial stuff. It's what you to know.
Can I call somebody to maybe pick you up?
Oh, no. Mrs. Donovan's in the car.
In the car? That's ridiculous. Tell her to come up around.
She stayed in the car. That's nice, girls. Just like your grandmother.
Can I get you something else, Mr. Donovan?
You can take it to go.
It's the house. She says it's still ours.
Who?
Mrs. Donovan says the communion's coming up. And with Dr. Taylor and your grandmother gone, Mrs. Donovan got to thinking that this house would be a good place to celebrate the communions. Last granddaughter's got us wrapped around her pinky finger, and Mrs. Donovan, and I always said, don't go bothering them. But when we saw in the paper that they had passed away, Mrs. Donovan got to thinking how nice a party would be in this yard. And that got to thinking that she doesn't want the whole place going to just anyone.
What does that mean?
It's all coming out wrong. She makes me nervous. She sent me to tell you she wants it as her own.
This house was not left to just anyone, Mr. Donovan.
It was left to us.
Yes, see, well, that's the thing. This house, when Dr. and Mr. Taylor
Our grandparents.
bought this house, there was an arrangement. And in order to buy it, there was a deal.
The deal?
Yeah, we bought this house for her.
No, Mr. Donovan.
And now, Mrs. Donovan, she says she wants it back, now that your grandparents are gone. I'm so sorry. She's waiting. I need to...
Those buttons, Anne, I told you, they're a sign. Well, I did. That's exactly what I said to him. I said, Mr. Bailiff, I said.
She's got the gift of the gab, my wife, can't you tell?
Oh, now, he loves my stories. Don't you let him fool you.
You might put your foot in it now.
Oh, of course, I love your stories. I'm the luckiest man in the world when it comes to her stories, because they're the quickest way to a nap.
Well, 10 cents just seems out of this world when I can go to the A&P and buy all the Coca-Colas I want for just 5 cents each. Mr. Bailey's making a horrible mistake.
Of all the wonders, I'm sure, inside Bailey's 5 to 10, the most notable merchandise my wife comes home with after her visits are buttons.
I think we need touch-ups, Rex. I've driven out to see where the girls might go to school. I only stopped on my way back here into Boston.
Well, he is. Mr. Bailey's making a terrible mistake. No, Lucy's been there. Lucy agrees with me, don't you, Lucy?
One school trip leads to almost a jam jar full of buttons.
There is more than one school in that town, Rex. Before we decided on the Vitello's house, we weren't sure which neighborhood might suit us best.
Ah.
But in the end, it was the beauty of the house that won us. A nice family house.
We're glad you could just come and discuss it.
Of course.
All this way into the city, it can be quite a hike.
Walk, skipping a jump is all it is. I can't believe I've never been over this side of Boston sooner, now that I see it. Beautiful, all the brick, all the stone.
Lovely.
On the small side.
We never thought we'd be here long. I always thought I'd start my practice down in Virginia, where I'm from, but Lucy...
Well, I was born and raised here in Boston. Why would I want to move to the boondocks?
It's a lovely apartment.
Indeed, it is.
Do you know the Vitello?
Well, Patty Ann here went to school with the wife.
Their house in Bellington, it's a real winner. There's the Vitellos on that street, and I think a Greek couple a few streets over, so...
So a Negro family wouldn't be such a shock.
Well, the schools up the hill are excellent.
Oh, all the schools are. I drove out to see each one. I didn't make a spectacle, but each school I surely did visit, and I guess I made a habit of stopping on my way back here to do a little shopping.
She's already filled half a jam jar with buttons from those trips.
If ever the world gets too much for you, like your mother used to say, peep through a buttonhole. Of calm you down in no time at all, that perspective.
Mr. Bailick's lucky his doors are still open, let me tell you. The wives have Mr. Bailick on a short leash, it seems.
For years, he's had the best prices in town, but now, well, you've been in, I think you'd agree with me.
Well, I was in right after Mr. Bailick tried to raise stockings up a nickel, and you would have thought President Eisenhower had declared World War III.
Well, see there, because stockings up a nickel makes no business sense.
Mr. Bailick will be in the bread line if he starts listening to my wife about business sense.
I wouldn't get so high and mighty, you.
How about another drink? Would either of you like another?
Here we go.
I know from business sense, Mr. Joseph Patrick Donovan, and don't you forget it.
Who would like another?
Just a touch more.
Good, me too.
Yes, a touch more would be lovely, thank you.
We're just so glad you could come and talk this over.
Well, why not?
We've been down this road before,
We don't need to get into...
over in Newton.
Newton.
That was you?
Luckily...
That was us, yes.
Joe, you never told me that was them.
I knew you had a house fire, that you had to leave because of a house fire.
Waited until the movie van peeled off and nearly burned the house down.
The paper said it was a Negro family, but well, I guess you never really put a face.
Luckily, no one was hurt.
And we're just happy we're meeting with you now.
Newton, we.
Lucy's right, yes. We're just very happy we're all meeting together.
If this works out,
We're really hoping this will work out.
How can it not work?
Lawn's as wide as the sea over there, Newton.
we just
It's the children.
2 boys, isn't it?
girls.
Ah, you better be careful with them, Rex.
2 girls.
Oh.
Tasha's the elder, the baby.
Oh, she's not a baby. She got orders into the tooth fairy as we speak.
The younger is named June.
How sweet.
When they hit 13, only way to manage them is to lock the doors and windows, throw away the key.
And you got
3 girls, 3 boys.
oh, my.
We're blessed.
To the next generation, then.
I don't know how I managed with 6.
You manage.
Girls.
I don't know how I managed with 2.
They're really very good girls.
With girls, you lock the doors, that's how you manage.
Yes, you just said.
Keep the daughters in, you let the sons out. That's how the peace is kept. No bad in here could have 16 more and the peace will be kept. Let me tell you, locks on every window, every door. Who was it said fences make good neighbors?
It wasn't anybody, Joe. It was the newspaper.
No, it was Frost. Isn't it, Robert? Well, maybe it wasn't.
Fences make good families is what I aim to meet.
Well, that's what we want, to raise our family.
Of course.
Patty and me, we don't go in for the racial stuff.
I just said that, Joe.
We believe in equality.
That's right.
Winds of change, because Patty and me, we believe what a man earns is his, rightly his.
And what a man loses, he thinks is forever his.
Like I said, we've been down this road before.
And what a man chooses to do with what he earns, well,
They understand, Joe.
So, we put up the cash.
cash?
Well, yes, for the Vitello place. And the title will be in your name initially. 1 copy to the town hall, passes by the right eyes, through the right hands, and the other copy to you. Then you sign over the title and the house would be ours. The Vitellos to you, to us. Half a week tops, and everything's done, everything's taken care of.
Cash.
Yes, Joe, they just said. Sometimes I think there's potatoes in this one's ears.
Cash for you to buy the Vitello house, and then also to compensate you for your help.
Because I say a man wants to buy his own house, his own castle, like Rex here is trying to do, then I say, this is the very place for that to happen. I say, what was that war all about? No, I'm making a point here. What was the war?
We're happy to think it over is what my
A man works and earns, a man ought to be able to buy a house. That's all Patty and me, we don't go in for any of that racial nonsense.
You're repeating yourself, dear.
Because I mean it. From the moment I heard about your predicament, I thought to myself, that's a shame.
The light bulbs were still cool. We just turned them on. It's dust.
So you can imagine we're more than a little
Oh,
worried
Patty, we
about it.
understand completely. You John, down at Atlantic Construction.
Now, Joe, I'm sure the tailors don't want our CROs cut up and served on a plate.
When we ran into our trouble, and I went to see about a little help, a little advance on my pay, and he's a clever one, John. I'm not surprised you two are acquainted, Rex.
Oh, John does all right.
I'm more than all right. A deal here, a deal there. John's kids have all got straight teeth. Like little white washbooks, straight as arrows. I've noticed. I've checked.
To John, then, for bringing us all together.
Well, we ran into our trouble.
Joe!
And I went to John's office, hat in hand, hand shaking like a leaf. You ever feel that way? I mean, you ever? It's supposed to be gold, paving on the streets. Under your own personal roof, it's wailing and crooked teeth. And John's clever. John took one look at me and he said, you know, Joe, there's this colored fellow who can help you out. Sure as so he can.
I know the story, Joe.
There's this
No
colored
need
fellow with green flowing out of his pockets like you wouldn't believe, John
We are
said.
happy to consider it as one, my husband.
Oh, I hope so. Rex and I both hope you'll say yes.
Best friends, that's what I say.
I mean, Rex and I first looked at that house in the dark.
That's a strange time to show a house.
It was dark because it was after work.
It was the dead of night. We don't want to trip, you understand?
Of course not.
How about a touch-up?
I want to be frank.
Of course you do.
The neighbors, we just want to move in. And then maybe once they meet us, meet the girls, because they really are good.
Lucy doesn't want to see the girls go through that again.
Of course not.
We were thinking once we move in, we can show everyone.
We just couldn't get anywhere going the more conventional.
A man dreams big and he pays.
Your name on the title.
And the money.
Oh, we take care of the money.
Our money.
Man,
Wait,
please.
it's our
Big.
money. Put the sock in it, Joe, for Pete's sake.
We give the money to John. You buy the house, you transfer to us, then John gives your share to you. $1,500 for your help, no strings attached.
Well, good.
We hope you'll say yes. The last time, the children were terrified.
When the landlord found out, he thought it'd be best if we didn't stay. But this time we'll own. Now you can't imagine how happy we are, how much this would mean if you were to say yes.
Joe and me will talk it over, of course.
Of course.
But the friends,
To friends.
fast friends.
Yes.
Of course.
That's it. That's it.
Rich,
Up to the top. To the top.
don't encourage him to break his neck.
Oh, he's fine. Keep going. Keep. Oh, see? He made it.
You're the one driving to the ER this time.
It's not.
She must have left it right after we left for school.
She's a crazy old lady, man. It's not even tight.
2 weeks notice where she's seeking legal counsel. She actually believes she owns this place. Neither of them ever said anything about the Donovans buying this house.
The Donovans don't have a leg to stand on.
I can't believe I still can't find that title and all their papers.
And they left more than their shares on it. Who saves old grocery bills? Old post office receipts.
Grandma Lucy used to wink and say, just so they know we were here.
It's nothing, which is why. That's right! That's right! Again! I'm thinking football. Pop Warner football. Get out his aggressions. That's all he needs. I need Pop Warner. I turned out fine.
You didn't like people.
In football, if there's helmets, they can't bite anybody wearing helmets. We could make them wear it to school.
The teacher calls him sport.
Aw, see? They like him. He's likable.
He bites. That's the last thing he needs to do around these people.
Oh, wait, don't! Wait, don't! Jesus.
Sorry, he didn't mean it. Maybe you are.
Not boys do. Miles! Now that's enough! Miles!
I don't like that he's the only black kid in that class and they don't use his name. I see it, I see how they are with him. And I sit there in those horrible meetings, which they call me in for, like my family is new to this town. Like we just stepped out of some first-time home buyers commercial where we're so happy our kids are riding bikes on cul-de-sacs and we have alarm systems that we don't mind if our teachers don't call our kids by their names. Because we're too happy we're not getting shot. They want to move him to another class. I think they should test him again.
Oh, no more doctors. He doesn't need doctors. He just needs time. New house, new school. It's been rough for him.
I know this town.
Pop Warner, you'll see.
I'm gonna lose it, Rich. I am, if they call me into one more meeting.
Next time we go in there and say, you're the teachers. Do your job and help us help our son.
You're going into logical, I am an engineer land.
Their job is to get him out of the 4th grade, not sing kumbaya. Next meeting we say, if you can't find a way to help this kid, then we're gonna send him home with each one of you for dinner until you do. And you can invite the teacher, the principal, and each and every finger off each and every member of that stuck-up school committee one by one, until we get some answers we can use up in here. You can bite them off. I'll grill them up myself. With sauce.
You're a hot mess. This is not funny, I'm serious.
Come here, you.
No.
Come here, you.
No.
Just
See, this is what I'm talking about. They can have lawyers all over this already.
The Donovans don't care if our kid bites.
And all this time I thought the Donovans were my grandparents' first friends here. Maybe that's it. Maybe they made this all up because they don't think we're fit for this town.
The American dollar makes him fit for this town. Not the magic wand of the Donovans. Lou, in accounting, he's trying to buy on Mount Vernon. $400,000, and that place needs a new roof. We're lucky.
I can't believe I invited them to their picnic.
What's necessary?
Well, with Nessa, it's all a hypothetical because she wouldn't have to move anywhere.
We are not moving anywhere. What happened to the old you? The warrior you? The girl I met outside working the door of that party who was so fierce, she wouldn't let me in.
The cover was $5. Did you have $5?
No. I got your number instead. That girl lit the world on fire.
That girl works in HR now for the flex time.
It's just a job, and it doesn't define.
That girl had 2 kids in 2 years and can't even look at a magazine article without thinking of grocery lists and summer camp forms. That girl moved to Leave It to Beaver's neighborhood when she should have stayed where there's decent Chinese food.
Hey, those are very beautiful kids. Spitting image of their father. And your grandparents need us.
They are beautiful kids. I just never thought moving here, having them would.
Yeah!
Something is off about this Donovan thing, Rich.
Nothing is wrong.
Something is.
If you're so tangled up about all of this, why don't you call your mother? Ask what she knows about any of it.
If 2 white people bought this house for my grandparents, the very noble, very proud Dr. and Mrs. Taylor, my mother would have got a bullhorn and yelled it out the front door just to spite her parents. Then she would have written a book about it. No, if this is true, they didn't want any of us to know. It'd be one more reason for my mother to hate this house. She'd be happy if we gave up this house.
You can still do it.
I like the quiet. That's the one thing. My mother talks trash about this place, but you can't deny this is something pulls me. Something.
the laughing stock of St. Agnes Parish.
I just want to get one last peek.
Joe!
The Vitellos have already moved out.
Joe!
Come here.
I don't know why I let you drag me out here.
Because I got charm. You can't resist. That's why.
I need charm like I need a hole in the head. You told me you were going to the fancy place across the turnpike. You told me you borrowed Jimmy Greeley's car to take me to the fancy place across the turnpike, not lurk around up here in the dark.
You can see clear across the field from here, all the way to Boston.
Well, la-dee-da for little Mary Vitello. DeMatteo. That's her maiden name, remember? DeMatteo. First communion, confirmation, we did all that at the same time, me and her, but never much talk.
You see clear in the air.
Even in school. Even in school, I never much talked to any. Now we don't even nod hello in church. I've known her since I was 6. I was thinking about it the other day. Me and Mary Vitello were kids together, on the same street together. And I don't even know the last time we spoke out loud to each other before the other day. When I think about it,
You
it's
don't get air like this down closer to the avenue.
those Italians. They don't mix well.
You don't get air like this over in East.
I think it's the vines.
The what now?
The vines, you know, in their backyards.
Patty! I wouldn't have brought you out here if I'd known it had you speaking in tongues.
They have the vines, the grapevines in their backyards, and I think it adds like a mysteriousness, you know? Like they can hide back here. Joe!
My thieves in the night. Ah,
Be careful.
I can't imagine
He's a laughing stock.
looking at houses and where you're gonna bring your wife and family in the dead of night.
Sneaky, the more I think about it.
You don't have to like change to make a man boot around in the dark for his family.
The wife doesn't like us.
The wife? She has a name.
Lucy. Lucy the wife. She doesn't.
What's not to like?
I don't know how I manage. As if 6 babies means I'm a cow.
She never said you were a cow.
She may as well.
Oh, but she didn't.
They've got awfully long noses.
The cops don't have long noses.
They look down on us, that's what I mean.
Well, good. He doesn't have to argue with you about the noses.
Be an ass, Joe.
No, I've met all different tribes and the way they used to be and such.
Can we go home now? We saw all this when we made a big show so the neighbors would get a good drift.
I just want to see what it would be like if it was us had to go rooting around in the dark. Tough road, the hoe, Patty. Tough road.
Don't you talk to me about their tough road.
We're just in a hole is all.
Yeah,
We sighed. We helped the tailors and we'll be halfway out.
halfway I should thank my lucky stars. We're all the way in the hole, Joe. I can get the electric company and the telephone company and the greengrocer to tell you all about it if you don't believe me.
Just bat those pretty blue eyes at the greengrocer and he won't know what hit him.
Oh, Joe.
Oh, stop now.
Who's starting? You should have told John, tell the tailors more.
We're lucky.
We are not.
A man dreams big and he pays, Patty.
The kids haven't seen new shoes in 3 years, Mr. Big Talk. So don't tell me about paying. We are all paying over and over.
You married a dreamer.
My sister told me it should have been David O'Mahony.
David. O'Mahony.
My sister told me it should have been anyone but you.
Anyone but me. Now, you imagine how that makes a man feel, hmm? Mrs. Big Talk? Da.
It's not enough. What they're giving us.
It is. It's a lot.
Don't be so Irish about this, Joe, and ask for more.
$1,500 is not enough if there's trouble. After I found out that was them in Newton, I've done some asking around.
You should be doing that.
There's a family in the South went to jail for this kind of
What's the
thing.
South?
We can't go into this blind as sewer rats.
It's not supposed to be any asking around. These people go into the Taylor's moving truck before it pulls up and
I couldn't have that on my conscience, Daddy. I couldn't.
I was careful. You think I want this to fall apart? Can't take in any more washing.
I hate hearing about washing.
You'll be hearing a lot more about it if we don't get enough.
This town is small. People talk.
They do, exactly. How's it gonna look? Us taking little handouts from people like the Taylors. Because once they move in, Joe, if there's talk, it'll be all about how we got taken by a
How's it gonna look? Asking for more for people like the Taylors. That will make us the laughing stock.
Listen to me now. Because of us, those girls get to move into a house. Our own girls will be lucky to get a job scrubbing at the rate.
That isn't nice to say.
Ask for more. Before you decide, just ask.
We're lucky to
We
get
are
like
not.
this.
We are not. After borrowing for the fruit stand.
The world can be a gray place, Patty. I was bringing sunshine to the entire world.
And the pet store.
Who doesn't love a pet?
And the laundromat.
Nothing like sitting and watching the clothes go round.
We are not lucky. Books filled with chicken scratch.
I'm a businessman. I keep the real important stuff all up here.
A lot of good up there did. A businessman doesn't run business stuff in his head. He works. He doesn't just dream.
I work.
Then what are we doing here then? Giving one last look at a house we could never have. Ooh, that Mary Vitello sure puts on airs for someone who grew up same as I did. She comes from the same place I did, and she's going on and on about how long it takes to clean the downstairs and how long it takes to clean the upstairs. And did I see the molding? And did I see the trim? And did I notice there's a den? And did I notice all the trees? Because actually silly. We sat in the Taylor's living room practically begging, teetering, nervous that a woman like Mrs. Taylor might not like us. A woman like Mrs. Taylor should be hoping we like her. It's nothing personal. It's just the way things are supposed to be, Joe. Sitting in her living room, drinking out of that woman's Waterford crystal is not the way things are supposed to be. Ask for more.
You ever just things slip through my fingers because life just
I'm tired of telling our kids no, Joe. No new house, no new shoes, no new anything because their father...
I can't punch in and punch out like the David O'Mahony's, Patty. You know that.
Yeah, I know it.
I'll go see John again.
Good.
Or maybe I go see Dr. Taylor man to man. But you stop talking about it around town. For their sake and for ours, you stop.
Okay.
This really is our second chance, Patty.
It is, Joe. It really is.
There's not an empty box left in Boston. Well, this should do it. Hello? The Martians have landed. They want you to report to their spaceship immediately. It's awfully quiet around here. Where are the girls?
It's bad luck.
Ah, yes. There they are.
Packing like this before they sign.
They'll sign.
The wife doesn't like us.
Patty.
Patty Ann.
She doesn't need to like us.
Did you see how she looked at those glasses? Like she was inspecting them. Like they aren't good enough because they aren't Waterford or something. As if she's one of those white lace ones.
Lucy.
No, Rose Kennedy, she's not Rex.
John wouldn't have set this up if it was bad luck.
The packing. The packing is bad luck. And someone bringing up the cash out in the open like that.
And bringing up Newton over and over what?
That's different.
There's nothing to worry about. John knows them.
How well does he know?
They need the money. They need this just as much as we do. We're trying to take things with us, not break them apart! Listen to that.
Cheeky.
Cheeky! And we haven't even moved out there yet.
Can you imagine after a year?
Yeah, they're not too old to take across my knee. They don't get that from me. Their mother's a hard-headed woman.
I want to meet this John fellow. Invite him over for drinks.
You don't invite a guy like John for drinks.
Why not? Is there something the matter with him?
There's nothing the matter with him.
Open up.
Would I be traipsing all over the south end of Boston looking for boxes if I thought he wasn't?
I still don't like it.
The movers are coming tomorrow.
That doesn't mean anything. The movers came last time.
Do you honestly believe I would trust John if something could go wrong?
I don't want to play with the girls.
The girls are fine.
Okay, it's me. Me. I don't want to go through that again.
We spent the last 2 years since Newton planning and saving together, I might add.
I know that.
I think sometimes you forget.
It's our money. Daddy gave that land to both of us.
And when we sold that land and saved what we got for that land,
I'm not touched in the head, Rex. I know that. It's that maybe I've decided that I like it here.
you like living amongst the unwashed. You like it here?
I use that term as a joke when I found that nice elderly gentleman going through our rubbish in the middle of the night.
I'd lose half my patience if they knew my wife called them names. That old man's harmless, and you know it.
I think maybe I do. Like it here very much.
You can't stand it here. It's stacked up like pancakes, you say all the time.
Rex.
We are moving.
Rex.
We are moving to a beautiful house, in a beautiful neighborhood, in a beautiful town, where we will have a beautiful yard that stretches into a field that smells of grass and earth and not concrete, where we don't have to live among 4 other families, where we don't have to climb 2 sets of stairs to put up our feet. Things are working out, I made sure.
We should have gone through the lead.
No, I don't want our new neighbors in our business, and I don't want the Bipsies and the Mopsies in it either.
You forgot Cottontail.
There's nothing worse than Negroes with money.
And Bixie Williams would have been willing.
John is willing. No cottontails allowed.
You mock, but I think we should have stayed with our own kind.
We did that last time. We let our own kind handle everything, and it's no wonder we didn't last one night. Those people could barely keep their mouth shut 2 days about the Taylor's big move.
I want to meet this John, this middleman.
You wouldn't like him.
I like everyone.
Is that so?
Yes, that's so. I think I need a drink. You're giving me a headache.
The bar is packed.
That's the last thing to be packed. I think I would like to meet this John. Sure, trying to keep you from him. Acting as admiring his.
Maybe just your middleman.
I want to ask him a few things, such as, where did you meet?
Oh, I can answer that.
How did you become acquainted?
A patient. A patient knew him and knew about Newton, and so there you have it. He's not your kind of person.
I am not Emily Post, Rex. I simply feel there are certain ways, certain appropriate ways, to conduct oneself.
I bet they haven't packed one thing.
What happened to taking them across your knee?
You're the one I'm going to take across my knee if you don't start helping me pack up this apartment.
I'd like to see you try. What is this fellow, John?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
I don't want to.
Take a guess.
Does it matter?
Does it matter? This is Boston. Of course it matters. It always matters. Do it.
I don't know.
I know when you lie.
Portuguese.
John doesn't sound Portuguese.
You asked. That's what he is.
Well, see, right there, I would be worried.
He isn't. It's his dad.
They marry each other. So his dad is, his mother is, and he is.
Oh, here we go.
I read, Rex. I know that the Portuguese and all those ships.
If I knew those books would come back to haunt me, I would have never allowed you to go back.
I didn't go back. It was 1 or 2 classes before the girls were born.
Whatever it was too much.
These things get passed down, Rex. These attitudes.
You're going to blame John at Atlantic Construction Company.
There's a history, a legacy. I wish you'd have let Daddy take you on instead of doing business with people like this.
A Negro doctor is better for show than for practicality.
He doesn't mean
He
that.
shouts it.
He's in business, that's all he means. And he thinks that's more stable than trying to collect fees from sick patients. That's all he... If Daddy took you on, he'd give you a fair share.
I don't want him to give me anything.
You sure took that land in a red-hot minute.
That is not the same. And John at Atlantic Construction, who is helping us buy a house, who is helping us live like we both went to college, when every bank promptly showed us the door.
We didn't need those banks after all. We saved.
When every real estate office we walked into said, there? Oh, I'm afraid there's just nothing available there, Dr. Taylor.
Why do you keep speaking to me as if you kept me in a little glass case?
John down at Atlantic Construction is not responsible for the slave trade.
Well, how can I know if you won't let me talk to him? If the Donovans are agreeing, why do they even need to talk to him? Why don't they come back and talk to us? Is there a reason they won't come talk to us, Rex?
John says they prefer...
The wife would prefer. I knew it. That John character has all our money.
I know that.
He has all our money while they change things around.
John says that Mrs. Donovan needs some convincing. That's what Mr. Donovan told him.
No.
John says it's good. Not so rushed. It won't look so suspicious.
And then we live in their house until that woman decides we're good enough to stay. Well, I can't agree to what that woman would prefer.
The point is they're signing.
The Martians have landed all right. They've landed and taken your brand.
Less than a day after sitting up here drinking our liquor, they called John. Even though neither one of them had probably ever said boo to a colored man in their lives, because they're willing to play. They're willing to help. They barely have 2 dimes to rub together, and they're going to sign because they barely have a choice. Don't make me come in there. I will not be nice.
Hey, they're vexed. They know it's bad luck.
They are not vexed. They are spoiled. You keep them cooped up.
They are
and
not
bored.
street urchins, and I give plenty of myself.
I would have loved to live in a house like that. I drew up 3 to a bed.
I know that.
They in there breaking things. Hard-earned things. I work hard to see things destroyed while their mother goes around using words that annoy people. We are moving tomorrow. We are going to like it. We are going to love it. We are going to love the space. We are going to love the air. And we are going to love not having to hear every little move our children make because they will have their own rooms far away from us. And I don't want to hear any more about money or signing. Period. End of story. Keep packing. These boxes ought to be enough. They're coming at 9.
on my front porch.
Should we call the police?
Oh, hi, Bellington PD. We want you to investigate these little old lady notes. But hold up, we don't even know if we own this house, so this old mouthy white couple might be right.
They aren't.
Without that title, we don't have any more proof than they do.
What's the note say?
No more borrowing. This is to help you as you go on your way.
Jesus.
I always liked the husband. I thought he was sweet.
Sweet my ass. These people want us out on the street, man.
Between the Donovans and that school, they should give me a parking space. I'm at that school so much. You should have seen that other kid, Nessa. It wasn't so much that he was hurt, it was his eyes. His eyes were terrified, like Miles was some wild animal. I tricked everyone into thinking he was kind and sweet, but when I let him loose, he turns on everyone. Like if you had a hamster and you let it out and it crawled up somebody's sleeve and this person left with this rodent under their clothes next to their skin.
Well, shit, man, I'd be frightened too if I asked for a crayon and someone tried to shove the whole damn box of Crayolas down my throat.
It's not funny.
One day it will be.
That other kid was terrified.
A burnt sienna and Indian red?
You can't call it. They gave it a new name. It's chestnut now. You can't say Indian red anymore.
I used to make up stories about Indian red.
That other kid was so terrified.
I used to take the pillows from the sofa
I remember.
and box myself in and pretend I was in a canoe, my own canoe, on a river, a long, wide river with lily pads and fish. Only at the bottom, not close, because you know how I hate seeing them swim around near me. And I was a maiden, an Indian maiden.
Indigenous.
Sure,
No, you should say indigenous.
I was like 7.
Now, you should say indigenous now.
I was an Indian maiden, not an indigenous maiden. That doesn't even sound right, indigenous maiden.
Well, you can take the girl out of Bellington.
Don't compare me to these people. We got parked here when our parents were too busy to buy their own houses, make their own homes. We're from nowhere, like secret agents.
Say indigenous.
I was an Indian maiden.
Say indigenous.
I was an Indian
Say indigenous. Thanks for this afternoon.
You're welcome.
Miles just takes so much, and I wasn't sure how long they'd have me stay, and Irish STEM is so big.
I would have killed to take Irish STEM.
They let anyone take it now. It's great.
For you or the actual Irish people whose dances those are.
Fire that thing up again.
I don't think so. You're all Manic Monday on me.
Don't torture me. I never get to relax. I never even sleep anymore because there's always like this buzzing. This alarm goes off and I can't hit snooze. I haven't hit snooze in 10 years. So I wake up, wake the kids up, wake Rich up, make breakfast, make lunch, pack lunch, drive to school, drive to work, sit at work, wish I weren't at work, get off work, go pick up the kids, pick up dinner, feed the kids, do homework with the kids, do violin with the kids, and they're getting better. But dude, I still have to bite the inside of my cheeks because of that. Then I put the kids to bed. I read with the kids when they're supposed to be in bed, but they're not in bed. Wish I were in my own bed. Find that perfect time between bedtime reading and teeth brushing to cram one of those beautiful orange cupcakes that I keep on top of the fridge in my mouth before one of the kids sees. And Lucy J almost always sees. She's got eyes like a snake, that one. Then return one of those beautiful orange cupcakes when I say to myself, really, what kind of dinner is this for a grown woman who knows to eat better? So I have a fudgesicle instead. Because that's kind of dairy, and I'm worried about my bones. I'm worried about calcium. Do I take the right multivitamins? Do the Donovans take the right multivitamins? Like, maybe that's why they've come out of the woodwork all of a sudden. Maybe some St. John's work or vitamin B would calm them down about all this house stuff, because I think it's just them, and I hope it's just them. A lawyer would have called if it wasn't just them. Then I wonder, maybe one of their grandkids is a lawyer. Like maybe some bratty kid thinks he's gonna make a ton off this place. But maybe the Donovans would just calm down about all this house stuff if they only had the right multivitamin. Then I wonder about Rich and his multivitamins. And then I wonder, where is Rich? And where does he go each of these nights? But that's not fair to Rich because I love Rich. So I wonder if Rich and I are gonna have sex. And if we're gonna have sex, should I shave my legs for this sex? Realize Rich and I are not gonna have sex, then go to sleep and do it all over again. Buzz, buzz.
Okay, fine. You know, next time you can just ask for a little more smoky smoke instead of letting your head spin around like you're possessed Jesus. You and Rich don't have sex?
My mouth just runs. No wonder why my kid has ADHD and OPZ. You must get it from me. Rich and I have sex, just not the sweaty kind. It's the kind where you remember the garbage needs to go out for trash day after time. In college, we used to have the former.
You should tell me these things.
You have your own unmarried, unkindred life. You can even forget to clean your toilet for 2 weeks, and I bet everything would be fine. Here, it would smell, and nobody would do anything except look at me and say, it smells.
You should. Invite me over. I'll clean your toilet.
When's the last time you cleaned anything?
Hey now.
Besides, I should have Yankee resolve. I should be able to handle cleaning my own toilet.
I know. Have Miles clean the toilet since he got kicked out of school for a week.
It's not his fault.
Yeah, crayons in the 4th grade is lame. That idiot teacher's fault. It is your son's fault.
Miles is that hamster let loose in this place that isn't his. I mean, after 50 years, I think I still feel like I owe something to everyone here. Like, thanks for being nice to me. Here's some potato salad.
What's Rich said?
Sign him up for football.
Oh, hi, Token. Here's your helmet.
It's not even bad like when Mom and Aunt Jean grew up here. Fist fights every day. Kids throwing rocks and bottles. Not one adult even batting an eyelash. And I can't imagine having to ask strangers to buy the place you want to call home.
If they did. We don't know what really happened.
I don't know. Rich mentioned how they kept all these papers and receipts like they were trying to prove something to themselves, to us. I mean, they had a life here, and I keep wondering, why did they do that? Then, I think I'm being a jerk about all this school stuff. I mean, what's my son being called sport compared to having to sneak into town because nobody wanted you there? Oh, Rich said to call Mom.
When do we call Mom for anything? Mom is best when you want to boycott grapes or ruminate on the colonial linguistic characteristics of pygmies. Can I not say pygmies either? Fine. Very tiny jungle people.
This thing with the Donovans makes me feel like it's not just the school, like it's the whole world. Like, how do I keep them safe and home? It's silly.
What if? What if before the Donovans do more than leave letters on the front porch, we sell this place so they can't have it either?
You can't sell a house you might not own.
I don't know the logistics, but once we find the
The
title,
logistics are no, no, and no.
just listen to me. We could sell this place and buy a duplex in a neighborhood that's at least heard of hair grease. And on Sundays, we could make soup and eat it all together. And when we're done, we'll all clean your toilets. You hate it here. It was me if I lived here.
You don't.
It's half mine, Hannah.
If it's not the Donovans.
This house is
You always can eat. It's half yours, I know.
So, since it is half mine, I say I'm suggesting we sell it and you can stop obsessing over miles and I can pay those student loans.
How did you turn this into a way to get what you want?
I'm just pointing out we can do more than sit around and eat miserable.
No. This is your way. Just because you can't spend 2 years out of school in the real world.
I have 3 degrees I know about the real world.
They are in English. You do not.
I'm saying
We can teach you how to pay your student loans, keep a real job, and stop buying shoes and handbags.
so you get to take over everything and I get nothing? You think you deserve more than me? You and Rich can go.
Richard, what?
Dinner's probably ready, popcorn.
Finish the point down and ask him what I was asking you in the first place.
Those Donovans.
Those buttons were assigned, Rich.
All right. Me and my meticulous engineer self will go over this house with a fine-tooth comb. You two might have gotten it together to start looking through it again yourselves if you weren't caught up in the weeds. We're men, son. We only call mommy in our sleep. I'll take care of this. You'll see.
I mean it. If I can't be part of this house, then I do. I want to sell it.
Who drove to their appointments, got the groceries?
You think you deserve more than me?
Who changed their sheets, made them take their meals and their pills?
I was here.
Sitting in the yard, talking and laughing while I change bedpans is not the same thing.
You were not the only one.
It was just me taking care of every single thing.
She liked air, sun, flowers one last time. Any of those Sundays could have been her last.
You do not know what she wanted. Where were you? When she reached out, called out, her voice so small, not more than a whisper, asking if I could please stay. And I said yes. I promised that I would take care of the same way that I wouldn't let anything happen to what they worked for, only I. It's very harder than I thought to live here.
We're supposed to be Indian maidens, you and me.
Nessa, you're a fierce black woman. Till you're pulling your stockings and sliding to the cubicle.
That has nothing to do with
We will not sell this house so you can buy shoes and handbags.
what handbags? What handbags? I have 2 handbags. I have 2 handbags. That is not why my student loans are
You
fully
asked for that raise? Then talk to me about real life.
Oh, and what's that? A kid you can't control, a husband you
Don't!
can't.
Do not.
We're supposed to be Indian maidens hand together. You don't deserve 1 tread more of this place than me. You don't.
I'm sorry.
Yes, so clear up here.
We like it.
Clean.
That it is.
Mrs. Donovan's sorry she couldn't make the housewarming.
We understand. Dr. Taylor won't be home for hours yet. I can tell him you stopped by. I'm sure you don't want to spend your entire lunch hour talking to a housewife. Is it Is it urgent
No,
that you speak to my husband
it's
about
not
the house?
urgent. And it's such a clear day, not one April shower. And I just thought, this is the bus up the Ave, goes right by our corner. I thought since we couldn't make it, and it was so nice of you to invite, it'd be nice if I paid a visit.
Dr. Taylor,
Oh, I must be bothering you.
no.
Tell me if I am. Mrs. Donovan tells me if I am. I'm used to being shrewd.
The girls will be home soon. My day starts up again then.
So you settled?
I guess you could call it that.
And it's been quiet?
It simmered down to cordial.
Oh, I'm glad. That's good.
The party helped. We could see people peeking from behind curtains at first. No welcome wagon. But Rex decided we'd throw a housewarming party, and only 2 for sale signs are still left. I actually prayed for that doorbell to ring. We gotten the girls dressed up. The Coopers were the first. The wife brought a frozen Sara Lee, so I know they hadn't planned on it, but for some reason and the others must have seen them come marching up the sidewalk, because more came after that, and, well, only 2 signs left, so success.
Next time, we'll be sure to make it. Looks so beautiful in the light, the sunlight.
They're thinking of building.
Building? Nonsense. It'd be a shame to ruin all this.
More houses, maybe a playground.
No.
This is the part I like the most.
Of course you do.
The way the field curls up to the edge of the yard.
Yes.
Like this is a very old and ancient place, and we're all just borrowing it for a little bit, so it doesn't matter if there's a welcome wagon. None of us are supposed to be here anyway, I like to think. All that grass and green, it's very simple, but very delicate. If you look over it, you can see clear to Boston, and you realize it's so marvelously splendid, it almost hurts.
You like words.
I sit out here all afternoon.
I can tell.
I hide the washing and the dirty breakfast dishes in one of the cabinets, and I sit out here all day until the girls come home. Then the housework starts up again then.
But in the afternoons, you let this field lap up to your toe.
Yes.
You were right about Frost.
Beg your pardon?
The night we met at your place, before the house.
We've only met one time.
Right.
So, of course, I remember when it was.
Right. Well, I just wanted you to know you were right about Frost.
I know it was Frost.
Patty Ann isn't interested in the book, so couldn't say then. She gets a bit wrinkled when I talk about that kind of stuff, but you were right. It was Frost who said, good fences make good neighbors.
Something there is that doesn't love a wall.
That sends the frozen groundswell under it
And spills the upper boulders in the sun.
and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. It's the first poem in his North of Boston. I borrowed it from the library to remind myself.
Can I get you something to drink, Mr. Donovan?
It's Joe, please.
That sun gets hot up here.
Well, sure, I could have something to drink.
Forgive my manners. I should have offered.
No need for apologies among friends.
I'll be just a moment.
I couldn't have asked for more.
I do like words.
Afternoons like this, sometimes I go down to one of the colleges, one of the big ones, BU or Northeastern. I find out when the lectures are, and I sit in them and I listen and I pretend I got the book plumb in front of me like the rest of them. If I feel lucky, like I can get away with it because no one will notice I don't belong. I raise my hand, I ask a question. Those good afternoons.
They don't miss you down at the site,
Sight?
the construction site. They don't.
Oh, no. I was never one for punching in and punching out, you see. I'm only down at the site on occasion.
I see.
I breathe.
That isn't very easy.
No. I suppose no, it isn't.
Maybe you could, since you're free in the days, maybe you could actually go to one of those schools.
Me?
You could go, study, surround yourself with words, and then get a job where you're happy to punch in and punch out.
6 mouths, and I'm supposed to be feeding them all.
Stranger things have happened.
They don't want a grandpa sitting next to them in those schools.
You don't look anything like someone's grandpa, Mr. Donovan.
My mother would have liked it.
See?
She sent me and my brothers to the nuns for the booklets. And my brothers, they weren't much for it. One lives over on Situate Street now. Bought a house, married a Protestant, 2 kids, and they're done. They can take vacations down the Cape even. My other brother owns on Appleton. I mean, Uncle Sam gave them both a leg up after the war, but I was too young for all that.
By the time Rex finished with school, it was almost all over. We joked that we all barely had enough time to really miss him before he came back home.
Both of them got tired of, me asking them for, well, a leg up. But, I'm lucky in my own way. I love those nuns. I love those books. But, my father, he died. Oh, they were both practically wet behind the ears when they came here, County Cork. And after my father died, the nuns, they wanted me to stay. My mom wanted me to stay, but I suppose I realized a man can't always stay, even in school when he wants to. So I set out to work to help my mother, or bring in some money somehow. Met Hattie Ann, and we stayed down east where we could afford enough room. As much room as possible. We didn't know it takes such a long time to save. It takes so long. But the boys, they do fine. It's the girls I worry about. Need privacy. More than 4 rooms can give. But I try to work hard. It's just...
Can't punch in.
Oh, I can punch in all right. It's the punching out I get itching to do too soon after.
Well, I think you should do it. Go to one of those universities and sit there and call all those words to you. You're not punching in now, so it's not like anyone's missing anything. I think you should do it.
Oh, I'm a Catholic, Mrs. Taylor. There wouldn't be a divorce, but there'd be so much guilt. My brow would be beaten to a pulp before the first set of exams. I wonder if fences make good neighbors. I meet someone. I want to know what's going on behind that fence. That's a nice one there.
It's a peculiar hobby, collecting buttons.
Not so peculiar.
I can sit here all afternoon with it. I'm accustomed to quiet. Sometimes when the girls get too loud, I try to will quiet. back into existence.
An impossible feat.
I married later than any of my school friends. My father almost sent me to the nuns.
You took your time.
I traveled while Rex was starting his practice. Rome, Paris, places you borrow. Very used to being able to sit and I spread these out and we all sit out here for hours.
Mother!
Then I scoop them all back up when the girls come home,
Mother!
which they are now.
Mother!
Something there is that wants it down. I don't often get to talk like this.
Should I tell Dr. Taylor you stopped in?
No, it isn't urgent.
Have a good afternoon, Mr. Donovan.
You too, Mrs. Taylor.
Mother!
Afternoons are the only part I like.
No,
For
no!
a little while.
I don't like it. I don't want him homeschooled.
For a little while.
And so we just, have you barricade yourself up in the house?
It's not barricaded.
I don't want to live like those Montana people. This town has other schools, other fourth grades.
Who's gonna take him this far in the spring?
No,
I can take some leave.
our kid attacked another kid. He needs structure.
I don't want him playing sports with these kids. I don't want him winning games for their parents, for schools that don't want him, for old ladies who leave notes telling us to move out of our own home.
He stuffed a box of crayons down another kid's
I-
throat, Hannah.
I know that.
He doesn't deserve a vacation with mommy eating cookies and watching PBS all
That
day.
was just while he was on suspension. I can teach real stuff.
You took time off we couldn't afford. You were not homeschooling our son because you were free.
It's that I don't like how they are with him. I can't send him back. I won't. With everybody looking at him.
Like he's a kid who stuffed crayons down another kid's.
I know what he did. You don't have to keep reminding me like I did something to make him.
I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm saying your anxieties.
My anxieties, my racial anxieties.
Yes, your anxieties about things that are racial, yes, are getting away.
I won't. I will not send him back.
What you think and feel, it isn't fair to place those.
I'm not placing anything.
What-
No, am I?
What you want to do isn't about protecting
It
him.
is. That's what a parent does.
You don't want to mix in with these people.
Keep your voice down. I am concerned about Miles. I don't care about these other kids.
The school doesn't hate him. You hate the school.
I do not.
This is not Little Rock.
I
Hannah.
know that.
Miles is not some kid leading the forces of integration.
Don't condescend. The letter, the notes are real. Us not finding the title to this house is real. The more I think about it, part of me knows the Donovans might not be wrong.
I do not want my son homeschooled because of some ridiculous demands that are spinning your many, many problems with that teacher, that school, this
My
town.
grandfather was a doctor. My father had 2 PhDs. My mother had a Fulbright. That teacher treats our son like he's the first person in our family to know the goddamn alphabet. It is not in my head. I am not making this up.
Miles has problems, Hannah. Maybe Miles is the first person in your family who has problems. School problems.
He can't afford to have school problems. He is black and this is America.
You're telling me what it's like to be black and a male in America, Han?
You know what I mean.
Could I see some ID, sir?
Rich,
Could you step out of the vehicle, sir?
come on.
Hands where I can see them,
Stop
sir.
it. I'm sorry.
You know what? Maybe all Miles proves that our family is normal, with normal problems that we need to look dead in the eye before they. He's just a kid. You can't lock him away.
Well,
Good afternoon, Mommy.
what they say?
You've got all the kids out playing in the air. That's wonderful.
What they say?
Faint like a heat stroke if you don't open a window.
You talk to them?
Dr. Taylor was not at home.
You talk to her.
I don't want to spoil a lovely afternoon, Patty.
Don't you patty me. You patty me when you didn't do like I said. There's an and in there, mister, and I hope you did what I said.
Bus isn't so bad, you know. I don't miss the car at all.
So you're going back then. Tell them that title ain't ever gonna look any different than it does if we don't see more money.
Maybe it's best if we keep a tight lid on all this till the Taylors are settled.
I should have gone myself.
I don't think we should be bothering them.
Bothering them? That house is ours right now, Joe.
That house belongs to the Taylors.
You said you went down to John and told him we don't sign it over to the Taylors till we see more.
It doesn't feel right.
And you said, John said, anytime, Joe Donovan, anytime you go and see the good doctor and he'll see to it you get what you need.
Well, maybe it wasn't said like that exactly.
Good doing business with you, Joe Donovan, is what you said, John said.
I don't know if I remember it like that now.
Well, that's convenient.
The man's king of his own castle, Patty Ann.
Then act like it and go do what I told you to do. I'm the one being bothered. Will you go traipsing up the avenue smelling of drink? How can you smell of drink? It's not even 4. You should be ashamed of yourself.
On the bus, coming home, I had a thought.
Oh no.
What if we take a bit of the money and I make a real change? A real deep, honest to goodness, real 360-degree change.
360, did you say?
Roundabout and loop-de-loop.
Keep talking.
On the bus, up the Ave. I got to thinking, and I think I'm not using my talents, Patty Ann.
And by talents, you mean?
I was thinking what I need to do, what I need to see. Since I was little, you know, I've loved opening up my mind.
Opening up your mouth is more like it. I've heard all about your thinking for the past 15 years, Mr. Donovan, and look where it's gotten me. Up to my ears in other people's skivvies.
I'm going to university. What do you think? I'm gonna be a man of letters. And just like Mom and Dad would have liked. I'm like they got off the boat for. No more breaking my back and my hands. I'm gonna use my talents, my God-given talents, and get paid for them. Take a little bit of that money and go to one of the universities. 4 years from now, Patty, 4 years from now, we buy our own house. We leave the Taylors alone, we buy our own house. I could get a fine idea. As I was coming up the Ave on the bus, and I don't miss the car one bit. New tires. Buying new tires won't help in the long run. You know, this, my plan, will help in the long run. This will help in the long run.
Now, you listen to me. I miss the car. I miss the car very much. I asked you to do this and you can't even. I've been doing some thinking too. And that house is practically ours.
Now it's not.
My fingers ache, Joe. My back broke a long time ago, and if it takes me 50 years to get what's coming to me, because they don't deserve it. We do.
It's not right. I'll pick up a shift. I'll buy 4 new white walls. The man's king of his castle now, and the more I fix it, I can't have us doing that. I won't.
We'll see.
You should have called me.
The girls were practically underfoot the entire time.
You didn't leave anything, say anything?
You're acting awfully peculiar.
You should have asked him to wait.
Well, how was I to know when you'd be home? It's not every night you grace us with your presence. There's always a patient, some emergency demanding your attention.
Well, who else is going to pay for new rugs, new curtains?
This house is 4 times the size.
And it's a hell of a drive. Lucy, all the way into Columbus Avenue, all the way back, up the turnpike.
I didn't come down to argue. I came down to say I laid out a shirt for tomorrow night.
Joe Donovan shows up, you call. You don't leave me to find out from the girls what goes on in my own house.
You're blowing everything out of proportion. Now, tomorrow's conference night, remember. I sent out that specific shirt. I bet those teachers have never laid eyes on a Negro doctor before. I want to make a superior impression.
I still think it's strange. Joe Donovan is so...
I think it's strange you're so upset, especially since we're all settled. Everything's been taken care of.
He's neck deep, stuck, liable to do anything.
Everything has been taken care of, yes?
Yes.
And he seemed fine, although it was hard to tell. The girls.
Oh, the girls. It was nice eating with them again. They're quieter than I remember.
You wouldn't say that if you were here more.
I hardly hear their voices anymore. I miss the 4 of us. Yeah, at night, I could hear when their covers would slip off. I could see your shoulder across the dark in the streetlight. Now there's so much space, I can't see anything.
I'm still here. Well, I can barely stand. I'm beyond exhausted.
It's a hell of a drive. But I don't always come up the turnpike. Sometimes I come through Medford, west side of Medford. Some nice Negro families live out there. Maybe it's because I was the only one in line for 20 minutes at the post office before anybody waited on me. I knew it would be difficult.
I don't miss 3 families living one on top of the other, I can tell you that.
Maybe I'm still that sappy kid whose mama kept all his marks in a book next to the family Bible.
Until you brought me home, you thought those pages were lined with real gold.
You shouldn't have pointed that out in front of Mama.
She likes me anyway.
I'm still that sappy kid. Because I thought I'd lifted us. Me, you, the kids. I thought I'd lifted us up, but maybe living all the way out here ain't where we're supposed to be.
Wherever we are is where we're supposed to be.
But I don't feel lifted. I should feel... Never mind. Go ahead.
What's with the blanket?
Jesus!
Camping out?
What are you doing up?
Liquid dreams to take the place of my actual dreams, which this evening are determined to keep me awake until the end of time. Oh, what kind of tailor woman would you be if you refused to drink? Really? What are you doing with all that?
I'm surveying, claiming what's rightfully mine.
You and Hannah are wound tight. Let me tell you. All the degrees in this family, one of you should study up on chill.
Everyone needs to start taking me more seriously after we get the Donovans off our backs.
Hannah is checking the mirrors and keyholes for Mrs. Donovan.
My day's been too sucky for you to make fun of me.
Hannah is writing manifestos about Brown versus Topeka
For real?
versus Rodney King versus Plessy versus Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. walked into a bar.
I didn't get that promotion. The Donovans want to take the only home I've known, and I didn't get that promotion. I want to say it's not their fault, but it's probably me. Grandma Lucy, my mother especially, taught us to be on guard, you know? I just think everyone ended up like this. After high school, after college, after the guy who started as an intern with gets promoted, and you can't bond him with a $5 Indian lunch buffet because all of a sudden he has enough to go to P.F. Chang's or something. I didn't get that promotion, but Craig, who spends half his day tending a virtual farm on Facebook, he asked for it last week. I don't think everyone else builds a cubicle around themselves. I don't think everyone else is too afraid to ask for what they want. The whole office except me took him out to celebrate, and that's all he could talk about was P.F. Chang's. Sitting next to him, I swore I could smell something very old on the sleeves of his shirts, on the curves of his cuffs.
Ah, yes. The smell of entitlement. P.F. Chang's sucks, Ness.
They have these lettuce wraps that are actually very good.
I don't get it. When all the other folks couldn't even sit at Woolworths to eat a hot dog, you and your family were in like Flint and you're still not happy.
Your teacher looked like you, the mailman looked like you. You always fit.
There's no Shangri-La where all the black people rejoicing sing because they can all share hair grease.
D.C. Chocolate City.
Anacostia River. The other river. The one between the folks and the boats. 5th grade, we went on a field trip. We sailed across that river, and I tell you, my heart nearly broke out of my chest. Why hadn't anyone told me about this world, about this place? Stone, slate, marble, monuments everywhere you turn. You can look Lincoln in the eye. I came home and I asked my father why he'd never taken me across that river. Why it took 10 years for me to find out about life on the other side of that river. You know what he said? Ain't nobody stopping you. And nobody's kept me out of anything since. When I met Hannah, she lived like that too. Italy, England, Ethiopia even, remember? Your sister would be all over the place. She walked around like she deserved. I could feel it in her skin when she sat next to blew my little engineer mind. The dream I keep having is I'm on this field. I got this football helmet on and I'm running a place and I'm decked out in red and gray.
Go Wellington.
And With the face mask, I can just barely make out Hannah. Very far away. She's sitting out across a huge field. She can't see me. She can't move. She won't move. She's very still, very sad. She gets smaller and smaller. I know I'll never see her. Not even 2 hours, I wake up in a cold sweat, not even 2 hours of sports center can get me back to sleep. Hannah's got this whole house thing, this Miles thing. She's not right about any of it. I checked the mileage in the car. She doesn't go anywhere. The groceries are ordered from online. The dry cleaning gets delivered. And any mail that mentions this town stuffed in between the cushions of the couch. All this mail stuffed in the cushions of the couch. Town council meeting, town school board meeting, town paper. Mrs. Donovan, there's nice places to live in Cambridge and Lexington. Invite. Simon Greeley's turning 10. Before I die, I'd like to go to just one more party where the drinks aren't served in sippy cups.
I knew these buttons were a sign. Everything's going to shit.
These buttons have Hannah. You know, I found her staring at one of them. Came home from work. The DVD was on before dinner, which she never allows, never. And something was gurgling on the stove. And she's just staring at one of them. Why do you look like you're camping out in the middle of the night? And where is that car of yours? That muffler usually announces itself.
I parked over on Appleton. I was afraid if Hannah heard my car, knew I was scared, she might. You know, she never calls me. We talk all the time, so she thinks she does, but I'm always the one to call her. And she won't listen to anything I say about this house.
This house.
That sounds like you know something. What'd you find? Because as soon as we straighten out the Donovan thing, we all need to sit and talk like equals. Everywhere else, I'm always justifying why I deserve what I deserve. And Craig may have gotten that promotion, but I won't let Hannah do that to me in my own house.
Your own house?
What's that mean?
Who in this world deserves anything? That's all I'm saying.
If you were the one being squeezed out.
I don't want to squeeze anyone out. I don't care who it goes to. I just know that Hannah's never going to come out of this if she keeps spinning and spinning like the old dude. This house is too tricky for its own good.
What's tricky mean?
Ghost spot?
What are you talking about?
That's the term for it, I guess. When black folks couldn't buy for themselves, so they get a white couple to buy for them. A white couple in Kentucky went to jail for treason back in the day. Black couple's house, fire.
Jesus.
All under the table, through the back door stuff. Ghosts.
So that's. What about the title?
I'll find it.
I don't know why they couldn't tell us.
They were too proud for that.
So the Donovans are right.
I didn't say that now.
If this is all true, well, shit.
Chill.
I don't understand why so much is so difficult because it shouldn't be. When I was little and would get like this, Hannah'd always be right there.
I miss her too.
I guess I shouldn't be getting
All my grades and grants are from Barbados, Mom. They can send me there because I sure as hell could use a vacation. Shit. Don't worry about this house.
All that ease. You've got it too. Hannah's lucky. I'm so glad you could meet with me like this.
I'm just glad I was available at such short notice. Usually I have a class.
I was never one to win for the books. My brother Sean's nose was always in a book, and the only places he's fit for now is the library and the priesthood. Thank goodness the church keeps a roof over his head. Books aren't practical, if you ask me. A grown man should be able to pay for his own shoes. Now, the house.
The house.
The Vitello's house.
Our house.
I always had a deep admiration for the Vitellos.
Mrs. Vitello.
Mary, that's her Christian name. We were in school together. We were girls together.
I bought Mrs. Vitello a volume of Keats, in fact, to show how grateful the new family and their beautiful house.
I'm not sure I understand why you do that.
I'm glad you called me. You can give me her new address.
I'm not sure that's a very good idea. You should probably be discreet.
Discreet. Yes, that's the correct word.
I know how to speak.
I'll be indubitably discreet. Use my mother's maiden name. Sign it in invisible ink.
I'm not sure that's a very good idea, bringing the Vitellos back into this.
Well, with them all the way down in Florida.
I'm sure I don't have to remind you how quickly things can get ugly.
And I don't need to remind you, I'm sure, that we put our lives at stake for that house.
Up the hill is no war zone, I dare say.
You try living in the middle of such neighborly goodness. You choke on all the kindness.
I'd appreciate such torture as living in that house would bring, let me tell you.
I wouldn't be so sure.
It's a very nice house.
It is.
In a very nice neighborhood.
It is.
You zipped in. No problems.
We're lucky.
Quite. Yes. And that's why I ran for you to meet me.
Dr. Taylor normally handles these types of things. Perhaps you should have rung for him, not me. I don't see how this has anything to do with me at all.
You moved in, no problems, and get to enjoy every inch of that house.
It's getting late.
The den, the trim, the molding.
We should all meet, the four of us.
Because of us. No problems, and I think
we should all meet, the four of us.
I think we should take more into consideration.
It's getting late in the day, and I don't want the girls.
You moved in, and I think we deserve to.
I'm so sorry, but the girls. This is on me.
I can pay for a lousy cup of coffee.
Can you? Have Joe talk to Dr. Taylor.
I sent Mr. Donovan to talk to your husband, and he came back high on the books.
It's a peculiar person to me who doesn't enjoy a good book.
I've got a lot of nerve sitting here talking to me like that.
Talk to Dr. Taylor. Now, if you'll excuse me, the girls.
Lucky little girls.
Yes.
Big house up on the hill.
Please, don't make this
They
difficult.
each have their own room.
Don't make this.
My girls don't have their own room.
Well, with the money,
Already pissed down the toilet.
perhaps you should lower your voice.
After all that we borrowed for the fruit stand and the pet store, all that money owed back to his brothers so I can look their snot-nosed wives in the eye instead of crossing the street if I see them on the Ave. We deserve more for getting you in this town. My girls share a bed.
Really? Pay a call on Doctor.
My girls take in mending. My girls wash and iron and don't have time for volumes of anything.
You don't want them to have volumes of anything, you just said.
Your girls are borrowing our luck.
Beg your pardon.
My girls shouldn't be mending and washing and ironing.
And my girl should.
I'm just explaining. There is an order to things. You know there's an order to things, or you wouldn't have begged
Who
us.
was begging? There was no begging.
There is an order to things, and you know and I know you and your girls are borrowing our luck. It makes me sick to think that my girls don't have 2 sticks to rub together while
Everything's been taken care of, everything signed.
that title is still in our name.
I assure you, Dr. Taylor wouldn't leave something like that slide.
He has to let that slide.
Talk to Joe.
I've got more metal than to leave everything up to my husband. And you're forgetting who was here first. In Bellington first.
Everything's signed.
I could make it very uncomfortable if that title were to turn out different than you want. I could. Because let's say that title didn't get signed the way it was supposed to.
I assure you.
And let's say I've been living in Bellington since I was a girl. And let's say I might not have much, but I do have this town. More than you do. And let's say maybe I went to school with a girl or two who works down the town hall. Maybe I went to school with a girl or two who was willing to make sure I get what I deserve to get. Which is more than we got, I know that much. I could make it very uncomfortable. Joe and me both could.
It's Joe and I, and quite frankly, I don't see how I can possibly help you. You can't threaten me to you go on and on about your girls. You fail to understand. I don't care one pinky finger about your girls.
That's for sure.
That little war between the states, I'm sure you would have read about it in school if you'd been one for the books, as you so eloquently put it. Ended a very long time ago, and I couldn't care less if your girls took a flying leap into the Charles River.
You've got some nerve.
You won't push us out if that's what you're thinking. My girls won't be pushed out just because you've decided, just because you say. This town that you think is going to come to your aid, you can't even walk its streets like a decent... My girls belong here just as much as each of yours. You won't push them out. I will not let that happen. You can count on every last finger and toe I have. I will not ever let that happen. Now, I suggest you talk to Dr. Taylor, or have Joe talk to Dr. Taylor. He's the one who handles these things. I can't possibly help you. I don't want the girls coming home to an empty house. This should be enough for us both. I know times are hard. You have a good afternoon.
You shouldn't be meeting alone with these people in the first place, Lucy. End of story. Find something else to do besides meddle.
Protecting our house, our home, is meddling.
She calls you. You call me. He visits here. You call me.
I want to see that title.
John,
Our name on that title. I want to see it, and everything's fine, and everything's been taken care of. Right now.
all this holding on of our, this getting ready for battle every time we leave the front door.
We do own this house, Rex, yes.
No. Not yet, no. If I could just talk to Joe Donovan. Me, John, we've been trying to. If I could get a hold of him and we could complete our arrangement, we could settle and move to one of those houses in Medford, West Medford.
We did not come all this way to lose. You're trying to give up.
You were right. This is bad luck.
You're trying to give up, and it's beneath you. It's beneath both of us. skin is what it's going to take. As long as I have breath in my body, I will show these people what's what. You bake for your neighbors. You use ribbon. You write a card. I won't be pushed out. I won't have us buy another house. We bought this house. That title belongs in my handbreadth. You're going to make this right. Believe me. Now, those teachers' tongues will wag if we're late. Hurry up. Go change.
And this one.
I think I heard the ice cream truck.
I didn't hear the ice cream truck.
I did.
Just finish.
Is this probably that you went to Italia?
Italy.
Or maybe I could get a snow cone. That's what I want. A snow cone.
Finish.
You know something interesting about Mrs. Granger?
The sooner we finish, the sooner we can find that ice cream truck.
The school of Mrs. Granger helps me work.
Miles.
It does.
I don't want to argue.
I can't do it like this.
Yes, you can.
Talk to Mrs. Granger.
I don't need to talk to Mrs. Granger.
She'll tell me.
It's taking you 2 hours to do half a page of real work, not just drawings.
I want better in school.
This is school. Now.
No, this sucks.
Watch your mouth.
I think I should be doing this in school, not the backyard.
Shh, and do your work.
You do it.
I don't need to do it. I finished school.
I miss my parents.
You can phone. Besides, you'll make new friends.
Yeah, right. Like where?
At the homeschool group.
Those kids are weirdos that I don't need new friends. Like plenty of friends. They call me Ed and pick on me because I'm the only one in jail who can make layers go all those 9-year problems.
You can do more than sports, Miles.
And
Your name is Miles.
I'll get to see them at Simon's.
Simons?
Simon Reed is having a birthday. The invitation things coming in the mail.
Is it?
Yep. Me and Simon have to keep it loose.
Well, I'll keep my eye out.
Good. Because I don't want us to disappoint my fans.
Where did you learn to talk like that?
And school right here.
Well, this isn't school, so speak correctly.
You just said it was school. Oh, I don't hear some.
Finish.
Hey, Miles. Hannah.
How come you don't think I'm listening to you like this?
Who's picking on you? I'm asking you to do work you were supposed to finish 2 days ago.
Well, how listening?
Work.
This is stupid. I love my school. If I were in school, I would be done with work and after 20 minutes. Why do I have to keep doing this? At least I'll do this crap.
What did I say about language?
Oh,
Enough of the cool guys. I don't want you to be a cool guy. I don't want you to be these people's cool guy, pet token, black basketball playing, football token mascot. Because that is what is happening. That is what is. They call you sport and they say you're cool, but they won't let you date their daughters and they won't let you 10 feet near the front gate. I don't want you at Simon Greeley. I want you to be a human being.
You're really good at this homeschooling stuff.
Maybe go find that ice cream truck. Go ahead, go.
Snow cone, snow cone, snow cone, snow cone.
I wrote a paper once on phobias. This one woman couldn't stand buttons. Turns out it's not the buttons at all. It's the fear of very small things teaming up, building up. It's the fear of a swarm. Makes sense she swiped them all when you think of it like that.
Grandma did not swipe these buttons.
Saturdays at Bailick's 5 and 10.
I remember that part. I do not remember stealing.
She was all, white gloves and lipstick.
High heels and stockings.
She was all, just you try to give me crap. And she'd smile and chat with the other wives. And when Balak wasn't looking, she'd sneak a button into her pocket.
Nessa!
She did, I saw. 4 years old. It was just me and her. White gloves and lipstick, and her pinky finger easing one of those buttons into the cuff of her coat. In the car on the way home, her face was on fire. Mr. Balak had some ideas about me, she said. The first time she walked in Mr. Balak's, she said Mr. Balak didn't know who he was dealing with. Mr. Balak thought she was a housekeeper doing someone else's errands. One by one, she played a riddle on him. She knew he didn't really see her that first time. She was invisible. One by one, she proved she wasn't that at all. She wasn't going to let this town overtake her. I'm sorry.
Me too. I don't know what to do. The school, Miles, even opening the front door and stepping out, I don't know. I'm not good at any of it.
Bullshit.
I'm so tired. I've got this coat of armor, and I don't know how she did any of this. Every button I find, I want to just give back. I don't know how she moved through the world when so much of it was saying she didn't belong here. I don't know where she found the strength.
Mom. Give her a minute, Miles. She never would have let you come back if she thought you'd get crushed by this place. Maybe we need to let our guard down. Enough. So it isn't so difficult. Like, what if we don't brace for the swarm? What if we make it easier than that? Mom. Miles, give her rest for God's sake. You and me, Han. Mom? I'm coming, Miles.
It is the ice cream truck. Oh, I need money, Mom. I need money. They're never really too old to take you across your knee, are they?
Mrs. Donovan,
Did I give you a start?
you usually announce yourself with a note.
So sorry we couldn't make the picnic.
You shouldn't be here.
It was sweet of you to invite us.
I thought, at the time, my grandmother would have wanted that, but
That's sweet too, but it isn't true.
she liked
She liked my husband. They were similar.
I'm gonna call Mr. Donovan.
With me, she said fruitcake. Every year by Three Kings Day, there was always a fruitcake. We couldn't give fruitcake. I was trying to afford fruitcake. She knew that. Huh. Buttons.
They were my grandmother's. She collected them.
A hobby.
Yes.
How nice to have the time. We've got the communions coming up, so we'll be needing you to move out by the 1st.
This is not your house.
It's borrowed luck. That's what it is.
You can't just come in here demanding things. No matter what arrangement our grandparents made 50 years ago, this house is ours now.
Not to mention how this place skyrocketed. You do the math. Makes your head swell. My girls shared a bed.
Your girls are senior citizens now. They don't have any
Cheeky.
Where's Mr. Donovan?
Useless. That's what Mr. Donovan amounts to. My girls shared a bed. And my boys had holes at the elbows of their sweaters and then the soles of their shoes. Borrowed. There's an order to things. There's an order to the way things are supposed to go. To who gets what and when and how.
Mrs. Donovan?
Patty, now, come down. I'm so sorry.
There's a way things are supposed to go.
Patty, please, let's not disturb the people.
Minute I read your grandfather had passed, I knew it was time to set things right. Second I heard your voice on the line announcing that memorial, inviting us to that memorial, I knew it was only a matter of time before it all came out. Before the wills and the lawyers and what with your grandmother going so quick after, I knew it was time to get to the bottom of this, straighten all this out. Our name is on this title, Joe.
Oh,
This house is supposed to be coming to us.
Milk and honey, you're right there.
is this real, Mr. Donovan?
Oh, streets paved with Peter Gold, my dad used to say.
Tell her what she said about this title, Joe.
But 6 miles?
Tell her what he said.
Rooting around. That was 50 years ago now.
Rooting around.
Tell her what he said, Joe.
I have one fella. One fella pays me in crab apples. And I wonder what kind of a country.
What was the war?
Because I thought I'd lifted us into better. But I keep taking the long way home. You know why? Nights like conference night. That's why.
Those nights, Patty and me, we're helter-skelter running from room to room.
At home, I was the king of conference night. But Tasha's teacher here, Mrs. Brady, intimated our girl could barely read. That Mrs. Brady made our girl out to be some ragamuffin just emerged from the soot and grime. At home, conference night was warm, Joe. Can I put it?
Sure.
What did you do?
I don't want them growing thick skin.
Your girls would be fine. It's a special thing to have a way with words like you and Mrs. Taylor.
What did you do?
My youngest Colleen, she's got away.
But Patty Ann's already got her folding up the washing. You know, already showed her how to tie the twine just so. Tight knot, 4 years old.
6 kids.
It's a special place in heaven.
It isn't easy for Patty Ann. We're not
Similar. And I don't know how to fix any of it. But I need you to know what you and me are doing.
This is the one most true thing I have ever done.
Even though my blood goes cold when I think about it, and all the kids, Patty Ann, everything.
I took what he gave, the answer he gave for the kids. I told Patty Ann that the youth was still alive and kicking.
We're similar, Joe. Wearing these thick skins, and underneath we're dying. There's salt and brine clogging.
What does that mean, Mr. Donovan?
From one sappy kid to another.
No, I couldn't.
For those 6 then,
Yes, what does that mean?
No, I couldn't take anything.
your name's on the line just as much as ours. Now that this title's been transferred, I'm going to put it right into Lucy's hands, and I know her. She's going to put it someplace, probably hide it somewhere where I can't even find it. You know, sewn into a mattress, under a floorboard, pasted into a kitchen
I took
drawer.
that extra, and I used a little for Patty Ann. Assured her, I told her that me and Ex Taylor had a deal, and assured her that I was making sure that we got what we deserved.
Milk and honey, my ass. You take that. No more twine.
But sometimes, on a summer night, I find myself up to do it in this backyard. And your grandfather, he knew. He knew how hard it could be. And he'd say, I'll take this job. It's Sean's birthday next week. I'll take this job. Here, Colleen made the honor.
What are you saying?
Yeah, once I took some of it and I took a class. Paid for the whole semester up front with what he gave me. Sat and raised my hand. I even asked a question. I didn't finish. I couldn't.
This house is ours.
No.
I I've got the title, Joe. Joe, I've got the title.
She got back from meeting with Mrs. Taylor and, well, I couldn't keep hiding from them. John, your grandfather, it wasn't right.
You agreed. You said after they died.
What
that we
happened,
would-
Mr. Donovan?
I signed it. I signed that title over to the Taylors last night. Me and Rex went over to John. I transferred everything just like we promised. John even notarized it himself. After, to celebrate, we went up the hill to this yard. They gave me extra. I didn't even ask for
The title was transferred.
it. Yes.
No, no.
Jesus, the taxes alone on this place.
I've got it right here. I've got proof. I tried to warn your grandmother. Show her. I had evidence.
And the electric and the oil that would have buried us, this house.
I deserve this house, not the Vitellos, not the Taylors.
I took the title, it was no good anymore. I slipped it back into Patty Ann's top drawer.
Jesus!
Between the stockings and the bar of ivory soap to keep the clothes smelling. But we saw in the paper that they had passed. And then you called, and Patty.
Always by 3 kings. There it was.
50 years. How could I tell her?
You lied. You lied.
I did. I'm so sorry. The title your grandmother has, the date's good. It's after the one there.
It's that we can't find that title anywhere.
3 kings.
Anne.
You owe me the very breath in your throat for doing this to me, Joe.
Not enough punching in or punching out in the whole entire world could make this house ours.
You grow up and you believe and you think. You believe with every ounce of you that you're gonna be better. You watch your mother rinse her stockings at night and you think, that won't be me when I'm grown. I'll have more. You watch the neighbors use a pound of hamburger to feed their 6 kids, and you think, that won't be my kids when I'm grown. I'll have more. I'll have so much more. Then something happens, and it is you. It's you darning stockings, and you avoiding catching the butcher's eye at mass, because now it's you with the 6 kids and the open mouths, and I don't understand what happened to the order.
Oh, Mrs. Donovan.
She knew it was borrowed. She knew it. It was supposed to be us next, not her.
Please excuse my wife.
After those Irish, then the English, then the Italians, then the blacks.
Go.
My girls didn't share a bed, so we'd get skipped over.
Go now.
Please excuse.
I got skipped over, Joe. I got skipped over. I missed out. And now it's too late.
She was a lovely woman, your grandmother. I always thought, in a different place, maybe, we could have gotten to something there is that doesn't love a wall. Because I like to think winds of change.
Go to your wife, Mr. Donovan.
You'll find that time. Should have made it easy for her.
Goodbye, Mr. Donovan.
But
You just missed the circus, Reggie. Those Donovans were just here. Oh my gosh. You should have. I was gonna. It was just so much.
Mom, Simon Reeves at the park, and he says that his mom says that she sent the invitations last week and that we used to have ours now. We have ours now. We need to no. Check it in, Mom. Check it in, please. And money for Italy ice. Auntie Ines, I have no money.
It must have gotten lost under all this other mail.
Yeah.
We'll buy him a present this weekend.
Simon is here. I got it. It's here. That's what I was talking about the beverages. Simon, I just got gold bars for the cat.
He goes back Monday.
Show those teachers what's what.
I don't know, Rich.
Act like we belong up in
We still can't find that
here. It's
title.
just a piece of paper, Hannah.
I don't-
Find it.
I don't know if I can.
We live here. Yes.
Keep this. You earned it.